One of the world's most powerful and closely guarded AI labs just sprung a massive data leak and exposed the source code of a piece of software that could change society forever. Codenamed Project Tengu, it's set to spark a 4,200% tech boom, impact $500 trillion in global wealth, and turn the economy upside down. 60-year Wall Street legend and financial technology pioneer Marc Chaikin reviewed the 512,000 lines of leaked code, and he now believes Tengu will be the magnum opus of a firm that Time magazine calls the most disruptive company in the world. Chaikin says, "Some are saying this is their ChatGPT moment. Wrong. I believe it is far bigger. I believe its impact could rival the microprocessor, the personal computer, and even the internet, and take off a lot faster, making some people extremely wealthy and leaving many others behind." Mind you, Marc Chaikin isn't the only power player who sees the transformative potential of this technology. Ray Dalio, Goldman Sachs CEO David Solomon, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang, who called it incredible, and even rivals in this space like Mark Zuckerberg are quietly harnessing this tool to completely revamp their companies. They're doing this because they know this application will decide the fates of their firms and the economy at large. And they know because this Project Tengu is already wreaking havoc on the tech world. Even though Fortune magazine reports it's barely scratching the surface of what it's technically capable of doing, it recently erased $1 trillion in market value from the companies with the most to lose, virtually overnight. Today, Marc Chaikin will give us a live demonstration of this AI breakthrough. He'll reveal the name of the private $380 billion firm behind it, and share the name and ticker symbol of a little-known pre-IPO backdoor into this company. This publicly traded investment vehicle can be purchased for less than $40 a share, and it recently experienced the same signal that flashed before NVIDIA, Apple, and in fact all members of the Magnificent Seven soared dramatically. But if you want to take advantage of this backdoor, you must move quickly. As early as Tuesday, June 16th, this company is set to make an announcement that could make a multi-trillion-dollar IPO all but inevitable. Blink and you'll completely miss out. My name is Kelly Brown. I work for one of the largest independent financial publishers in the world, serving over 1 million people in 148 countries. Sitting with me today is living legend Marc Chaikin. He's the creator of one of Wall Street's most popular indicators, a powerful tool found in every Bloomberg and Reuters terminal in the world. He helped create 3 new indices for the NASDAQ, where he once rang the opening bell, and he has called nearly every twist and turn in the stock market since 2020, from the COVID-19 crash and the ensuing V-shaped recovery to the 2022 bear market, the regional bank crisis, the Liberation Day sell-off, and more. This is the reason CNBC's Jim Cramer famously said, "I learned a long time ago not to be on the other side of a Chaikin trade." We strongly urge you to heed Cramer's advice, because if you're on the other side of this Chaikin trade, you may never recover from the fallout. The Guardian predicts that it could upend the entire U.S. economy, from jobs to markets and mortgages. The Atlantic warns that everyone, big banks, private equity firms, people who had no idea what's mixed into their 401k, would be hit. That said, if you get on the right side of this trade, you could build long-lasting generational wealth and protect your family's financial future for decades. And today, Marc Chaikin is going to show us exactly how to do that. Marc, thank you for joining us in our New York studio and sharing this momentous opportunity with our viewers.
It's my pleasure, Kelly. This is a huge story, and I'm eager to spread the word about it. And let me say this out of the gate. Forget OpenAI and SpaceX. In my view, this is the biggest and most important potential IPO of 2026. And I say that not because its annual revenues have already surpassed both OpenAI and SpaceX, or because its sales have grown by an extraordinary tenfold every single year since its inception 3 years ago, or even because it's an AI powerhouse trusted by 8 of the 10 largest companies in the world. No, I believe this will produce the hottest IPO of 2026, and potentially become the biggest company in stock market history by the end of the decade because I've experienced its technology firsthand.
You've tried it out for yourself?
Exactly, Kelly. My firm, Chaikin Analytics, counts itself among the 300,000 businesses that have embedded its software into their workflows. To be clear, we aren't one of the 500 or so companies that spend over $1 million with this firm on an annualized basis, nor are we among the quickly climbing number of customers who spend over $100,000 annually. That user base has gone up 7-fold in the past year alone. But we're a few levels above the millions of free users who recently sent its flagship product to the top of the App Store leaderboards. That's how I recently accessed a beta test of its explosive Project Tengu initiative. As soon as I laid hands on this AI breakthrough, I was blown away. This is a watershed moment, and most folks have no idea how big this could become.
So to be clear, this is a new chatbot of some kind, right? Or is it another ChatGPT or Grok?
No, it's bigger than that. We're talking about the proof of concept for what Salesforce CEO Marc Benioff calls the most significant transformation of work in history. It's the trigger that could spark a 42 times investment mania and impact 500 trillion in global wealth.
500 trillion, Mark? That's almost an unimaginable amount of money.
It's actually outrageous, Kelly. To put it in context, it's 4 times the total value of all the world's publicly traded companies. But this isn't my number, Kelly. It comes from NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang. Huang believes the technology behind this innovation is going to cause the world's GDP to become $500 trillion. Now, this may come true, and if it does, it will likely become the greatest wealth-building opportunity in modern history. But it's going to destroy thousands of jobs, companies, and entire business models in the process.
I hear what you're saying, Mark. At the same time, some of our viewers may think, sure, but our history books are packed with stories of radical technologies that provoked needless hysteria. I once read that during the dawn of the locomotive era, some folks believed that your body would literally melt at such high speeds. Don't you think the panic surrounding Project Tengu may be a little overblown?
I might have considered that point of view a few years ago when generative AI was still in its infancy, but now the economic consequences of this breakthrough are not only impossible to ignore, they're unfolding as we speak. You see, when the beta test of Project Tengu first went live, it barely caused a stir on Wall Street. But when the firm behind it began demonstrating its astonishing capabilities, all hell broke loose. First, it showed the world it could connect law firms and corporations to legal databases going back hundreds of years, cutting out middlemen like LegalZoom and LexisNexis. Now, this might not sound like a big deal. Even Fortune dubbed it a relatively minor product update. But it obliterated LegalZoom and LexisNexis and sparked a $285 billion sell-off in a single day. Next, researchers revealed that Project Tengu could change the face of the cybersecurity industry. They pointed it at some popular applications, and it almost immediately zeroed in on more than 500 serious security holes, major vulnerabilities which had survived decades of expert review and exhaustive stress testing. Cybersecurity giant CrowdStrike lost $20 billion in 2 days, and Global X Cybersecurity Fund closed at its lowest point in over 2 years. And finally, they demonstrated that Project Tengu could modernize COBOL, the ancient programming language that underpins Social Security, the IRS, and 95% of ATM swipes, and generates a huge source of recurring revenue for IBM. Sure enough, IBM lost $40 billion in a single session.
Wow.
And that was its worst day in more than 25 years. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. In 6 days, Project Tengu vaporized nearly $1 trillion in market value.
So let me make sure I've got this straight. This technology brought IBM to its knees. It wiped out the cybersecurity industry, and it slammed a wrecking ball into the legal software business, all in the time span of 6 days?
That's correct. All of this occurred in about a week in February. And if you want to confirm this for yourself, you can find my research notes in the disclosures and details page linked at the bottom of your screen. The thing is, Kelly, the dust has settled, but this historic changing of the guard is just beginning. You see, on March 31st, the company behind Project Tengu accidentally leaked the source code for this disruptive software, and 512,000 lines of code hit the internet. Now, this leak didn't expose any customer information or data, nor did it reveal the valuable inner mechanics of the company's AI models, and in some ways, it was an unintended marketing coup. Programmers combing through the source code praised its masterful engineering on social media, but when I examined this code, I saw something that few others had noticed: a hidden mechanism that could soon make society unrecognizable. Now, if that happens, the February sell-off was just a warm-up act. Project Tengu's biggest disruption still lies ahead. A watershed moment that could create extraordinary wealth for savvy investors and financial turmoil for everyone else. What's going on is going to happen far faster than most folks anticipate. Now, I believe this could send a multi-trillion-dollar shockwave through the stock market as early as Tuesday, June 16th.
You really think it could happen that quickly? I know things move fast in the world of AI, but that date, it's right around the corner.
Well, this is how this firm operates, Kelly. It has released a major update roughly every 2 weeks in 2026, and each one has disrupted a different industry. The software I'm going to demonstrate in a moment, it was just developed in 10 days. It took Netflix, Amazon, and YouTube anywhere from 6 months to 2 years to develop products like this.
And how did they turn it around so quickly? Did they work their engineers around the clock?
No, nothing crazy like that. They seem to work around 50 hours a week. Their strategic advantage is that they've built their software to code itself. Now think about that. Engineers simply tell the AI what they want to do, and it does it. This enables them to complete programming tasks at speeds that were unthinkable a year ago. Music streaming giant Spotify is totally on board. It's using this firm's software to update its own code up to 90% faster. Wow. Its CEO says its best developers have not written a single line of code since December. Furthermore, a Google engineer recently revealed that in just 1 hour, this software reproduced a complex system that took her team a full year to build. So if you think technology moved fast before, you'll be blown away by how quickly it will advance going forward.
If anybody else told me this, I'd take it with a grain of salt, but you're a living legend in the financial world. In 1989, you built the first system that enabled traders to see market data and run financial analysis in real time. And that led to partnerships with some of the greatest investment minds of our time, including George Soros, the man who broke the Bank of England by betting against the pound and profiting to the tune of $1 billion. You worked with hedge fund legend Paul Tudor Jones, who predicted the 1987 Black Monday crash, with quant pioneer David E. Shaw, who famously gave Jeff Bezos his first job and encouraged him to start Amazon, Michael Steinhardt, who was named one of Business Standard's 7 all-time best investors, and billionaire investor Steve Cohen, owner of the New York Mets. In fact, when Cohen founded his first hedge fund, your system was among the tools he used to grow it from $20 million to $14 billion, a 69,900% surge in assets. What's more is when you pivoted from serving institutional investors to individual investors, you didn't lose a step. You took all the insights you had gleaned from these financial wizards and your own 60-year career as a trader, stockbroker, and analyst, and built a new system that has helped your followers get in early on some of the biggest stock runs of the past decade. Had you invested $1,000 in each of the following stocks after Marc's system identified them, you could have made as much as $45,250 on Comfort Systems, $54,260 on AppLovin, $57,710 on Sterling Infrastructure, $69,990 on Supermicrocomputer, and $75,680 on Celsius. So if you think investors could capture large profits from Project Tengu, I'm inclined to believe you. But you have to tell us, what is the name of the company behind this technological breakthrough?
Well, I'll give you a few hints, Kelly. It counts Alphabet, Amazon, NVIDIA, and Microsoft as major investors. It's $380 billion valuation already eclipses the market caps of McDonald's, Coca-Cola, and Home Depot. And it has multiplied its revenue by a mind-boggling tenfold every year since its founding. Now, to put that in context, Google, during its initial hyper-growth period, roughly doubled every year. NVIDIA likewise doubled its sales every year amid the generative AI build-out, and OpenAI tripled its annual revenues during that same time period. Meanwhile, and I repeat, this firm has grown 10 times every year. It's the most explosive growth story I've ever seen in my entire career, and I'm talking about the company Anthropic.
Anthropic. That's the firm that makes the popular Claude chatbot, right?
Correct, but I have to reiterate, it's far more than that. When Goldman Sachs decided to automate a big and complex part of its business, it went to Anthropic. When the U.S. military set out to capture Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, it went to Anthropic. When NASA needed to plot a course for its Perseverance rover 140 million miles away on Mars, it went to Anthropic. Even when Mark Zuckerberg sought help running Meta platforms, he went to Anthropic.
Mark Zuckerberg, are you serious?
Absolutely. For the past few months, he has been using it to develop an AI CEO that will guide his decisions and help him get information faster. Now, think about that. Even a man who's offering top researchers up to $300 million to join his AI lab is tacitly admitting that Anthropic has a superior product. This firm is at the top of an AI power structure right now, and it's not even close.
Okay, next question. What do you suggest that people do to take advantage of Anthropic's success? Is it a simple matter of buying the stock when it goes public?
No, Kelly, I wouldn't recommend doing that. If you buy a company's IPO when it first starts trading, which is typically a multiple of the offering price, it almost always underperforms in the long run. This is an extremely well-documented phenomenon in the academic literature. And even though I believe Anthropic could become one of the biggest companies in the world, I would urge caution before you go against historical precedent. Furthermore, you don't want to wait until Anthropic goes public to gain exposure to this firm. I've identified a tiny, publicly traded firm with an outsized stake in this AI giant. It's rallied as much as 77% this year on the strength of this investment. Nonetheless, shares are still around $40 apiece, and I'll give you its name and ticker symbol in a moment. But I'll say this, if you want to make the biggest potential gains from the Anthropic story, you have to think more broadly.
And what do you mean by that?
Well, consider OpenAI. When it released ChatGPT to the public in 2022, it became an overnight phenomenon. The fastest growing consumer app in history. Over the next few years, OpenAI's valuation rocketed from $29 billion to $850 billion, an extraordinary 2,800% gain. As a result, early investors like Peter Thiel and Reid Hoffman are sitting on billions of dollars in unrealized gains. But the runaway success of ChatGPT didn't exclusively enrich the people and organizations who got in early on OpenAI. It had a massive ripple effect that drove huge waves of money into virtually all the companies in the AI supply chain. Chip makers, data center builders, app developers, energy and power providers, these firms soared dramatically. Some of them actually did better than OpenAI. Just take a look, Kelly.
This is amazing. I'm seeing gains between 1,000% and 7,000% here.
Correct. And while I hate to brag, I didn't pick these companies randomly. You see, I've built a system that automatically scans over 6,000 stocks and ETFs, analyzes 20 different quantitative factors, including metrics like earnings growth and insider activity, and distills all of its findings into a simple rating that anyone can understand: bullish, neutral, or bearish. It's called the power gauge. And it turned bullish on all of these companies, some of them long before ChatGPT was even released. For instance, it turned bullish on data center play Vertiv in 2020, bullish on AI hardware supplier Celestica in 2019, and bullish on NVIDIA all the way back in 2014.
These stocks went on gigantic runs, and none of them are OpenAI.
Not one. In fact, even if I could buy OpenAI, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. It's falling behind in a major way. This April, Anthropic's annualized sales actually surpassed OpenAI's for the first time.
Oh, wow. Sam Altman must be seething with jealousy.
He's a wreck, Kelly. After dumping billions of dollars into his AI video generation app, Soar, Altman suddenly shut it down without warning and shifted into the enterprise applications that have been Anthropic's bread and butter. CNBC reports that OpenAI is orienting aggressively towards high productivity use cases. But it's too late for OpenAI. Anthropic is already light years ahead of them. Now, that said, if you want to profit from the Anthropic rollout, the power gauge has recently turned bullish on 3 obscure but pivotal plays on this exciting megatrend. They could all generate substantial returns as Project Tengu turns the economy upside down and changes society forever.
Okay, I need more details on those stocks, and I want to know more about the system, which you famously built following a personal catastrophe. If you're watching this from home, don't worry. We'll cover all of this and more in the next few minutes. But before we get to that, you have to tell us, what is Project Tengu, and why do you believe it has such world-changing potential?
Project Tengu is the code name revealed in the March data link for Claude Code, the mind-blowing new Anthropic tool taking the tech world by storm. The Wall Street Journal calls it a thinking machine of shocking capability. And that's because when programmers use it, they're shocked to discover it can easily replace the expertise that they've built up over entire careers. One developer told the paper, "I spent my whole life developing this skill, and it's literally one-shotted by Claude Code." Even if you've never written a single line of code, you can log on to this program and create a functional piece of software in a matter of minutes. For example, Andre M., a product manager with 0 coding experience, used it to build an iOS app that helps parents locate playgrounds and other family-friendly places in their area.
Cool.
Likewise, the founders of Vulkan Technologies don't have traditional engineering backgrounds. That didn't stop them from using Claude Code to build a prototype of their first product for Virginia's governor office, win the contract over established firms, and harness their software to save Virginia homeowners more than $1 billion annually.
Wow, that's a wild story. It sounds like Claude Code is basically democratizing software development.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg, Kelly. In January, Anthropic used Claude Code to develop a more user-friendly version of the program, Claude Cowork, something anybody could pick up and put to work in no time at all. As I mentioned earlier, it took them just 10 days to develop this product. And in just 6 days, it erased $1 trillion from the stock market as investors fled the most at-risk software stocks.
Now, Mark, you promised to give us a live demonstration of this product. Can you show that to our viewers now so that we can better understand why Wall Street had such a violent reaction to this launch?
Well, I've got a surprise for you, Kelly. The live demo I promised to share, it's been happening this whole time. I'm sure you have your phone on silent, right?
I do, yeah.
Take it out and have a look.
Okay. Huh. Looks like you sent me an email about 5 minutes ago, but that's odd. You've been here the whole time, and you sent me a link to something called the AI Power Gauge Simulator. What's this?
Well, before we started filming, Kelly, I opened up Claude Cowork, told it to access a folder of spreadsheets on my computer, use the data to develop a program that simulates finding trades with the power gauge, and email the results to you. Now, here's what it produced. Feel free to click around and see how it works.
Wow, this is actually completely functional. I can paper trade stocks, see their power gauge ratings, and take a deeper dive into their financials. This is incredible. You didn't do any coding on this?
None whatsoever. I just logged on to Claude Cowork and told it what to do. Had I outsourced this job to a team of programmers, it probably would have taken them weeks to make something this polished. But now with the advent of an AI agent, this is a new world.
Okay, AI agents. I've heard this term before. Can you explain it for our audience?
This is the evolution of AI from passive chatbots to active players out there working on your behalf. These are full-fledged AI employees that can do everything from booking flights and ordering groceries to piloting drones, driving vehicles, and managing entire businesses.
Wow, that's fascinating. And where do you see AI agents having the biggest impact?
Well, it's hard to narrow down to just one field. Tengu, if you don't know, is the name of a shape-shifting creature from Japanese mythology. It's a fitting code name for Claude Code because it changes shape to accommodate a sea of different applications. Scientific research is a big one. A small team at Carnegie Mellon University recently built an AI agent that taught itself Nobel Prize-winning chemistry and then used its findings to run a successful experiment in a physical laboratory. Now, guess how long this whole process took?
A few weeks?
No less than 4 minutes. Now imagine what would happen if you set this technology loose on healthcare, energy, and other sectors that rely heavily on scientific breakthroughs. Well, you don't have to imagine it because it's already happening. Eli Lilly and NVIDIA recently partnered to build the pharmaceutical industry's most powerful supercomputer. Scientists will be able to train AI agents on millions of experiments to test the potential medicines and dramatically accelerate drug discovery, potentially yielding breakthrough treatments for Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, HIV/AIDS, various cancers, and much more. Microsoft is going all in on nuclear power to fuel its AI data centers. It's using AI agents in collaboration with a tiny manufacturer of SMRs, or small modular reactors, to cut permit timelines by a staggering 92%. And Google's new AI agent is rapidly building algorithms that surpass human expertise. It recently developed a new method for calculation which beats an algorithm that computer scientists have relied on for 56 years.
And the companies you've just described have all skyrocketed in the last few years, and I'm sure AI agents played an important role in their run-ups. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that your power gauge turned bullish on all of these stocks before they took off. It turned bullish on Eli Lilly before it soared as much as 1,272%, bullish on Microsoft before it went up as much as 770%, and bullish on Alphabet before it climbed as high as 733%. By using the power gauge, your readers could have made a lot of money from these stocks. But does that mean that the biggest gains are now behind us?
Far from it, Kelly. Take a look at this chart. The red bars show the jobs AI agents are now performing. As you can see, they're already tackling a large number of tasks across tech, business, office administration, and much more. Now look at the blue bars. That shows the tasks AI agents can perform, but haven't been deployed to do so yet.
So this means that adoption is still just a fraction of what AI agents are capable of doing?
That's correct, Kelly. And that's why this chart is at once a beacon of hope for certain well-positioned AI stocks and a dire warning for the labor market. Anthropic's own CEO, Dario Amodei, believes this technology will eliminate half of all entry-level white-collar jobs by the end of the decade. And Microsoft's AI chief, Mustafa Suleyman, has even grimmer outlook. He says most tasks that involve sitting down at a computer will be fully automated by AI within the next year.
Wow.
It's happening as we speak. Oracle, on the heels of a 95% increase in net income, just fired 30,000 workers with a single email. This year, Amazon will spend $125 billion on AI and slash 16,000 corporate jobs, and Block just cut nearly half of its headcount, citing AI as the key driver behind the move.
Seems like every week the news reports at least one massive round of layoffs. And how do you see these layoffs rippling across the economy?
Well, I'm certain we'll see more and more people enter skilled trades. Our country has a massive shortage of electricians, plumbers, and heating and cooling technicians, and these ultra-valuable jobs are among the least vulnerable to AI disruption. I also believe you'll find more and more politicians on both sides of the aisle stumping for new social welfare programs that will award citizens with a certain amount of financial support every month.
It's already happening.
It sure is. Furthermore, as the wealth gap widens, we may see an uptick in protests, riots, and other forms of civil unrest. For many people, it will be a dark time in America. At the same time, I expect certain stocks to continue powering higher as AI unlocks continual productivity gains. The folks that own those stocks could find themselves on the winning side of this 4,200% paradigm shift. Look, I'm sure you've worked hard and made a lot of sacrifices to build up your retirement account over time. Now it's your job to make that money last for generations to come. All you need to do is make 3 simple moves with your money today.
So I've been looking forward to this segment, Marc. Folks, Marc is about to reveal the details on 3 stocks that could multiply your money many times over. He'll also give you the name and ticker symbol of a little-known way to invest in Anthropic before it goes public. Plus, he'll expose 5 stocks you should avoid at all costs as this shift unfolds. And he'll explain why you need to act before Tuesday, June 16th to capture the biggest potential profits and protect your hard-earned savings. So without further ado, tell us, what is the first move our viewers should make to take advantage of this boom that could add $500 trillion to the global economy?
Now, Kelly, this is a direct play on the agentic AI revolution that recently turned very bullish in the power gauge. This is the highest rating my system can give, and it's ironic because for many years, Wall Street counted out this firm. Analysts rang the alarm bell when its founder started piling on huge amounts of debt. They thought he was being reckless, but they missed the big picture. They didn't see that all the costly hardware acquisitions this founder was financing had perfectly positioned it to dominate AI infrastructure. And when AI took off, this company harnessed AI agents to take advantage of that momentum, building a $25 billion business selling servers from scratch in just 2 years. In fact, it has its fingerprints on some of the biggest AI projects, including Elon Musk's Colossus, the world's most powerful supercomputer, Horizon, the largest academic supercomputer in the US, JP Morgan's new AI-powered $3 billion headquarters, Alphabet, MIT, and Harvard's groundbreaking AI lab, a massive AI factory with NVIDIA, President Trump's Genesis mission to win the global AI race, and a whole lot more. The Wall Street Journal calls this company's success story one of the most surprising transformations in the history of tech. In just a couple of years, its AI customer base soared from 30 to more than 2,000, and it's likely to hit 4,000 in the next 2 quarters. That's because it's in the right place at the right time. And if you want to make big money in the market, you have to put yourself in the middle of a booming and inevitable trend like this. You'll find all the details on this company in my new report, The AI Cornerstone, Why It's Time to Buy This Megatrend Winner.
It's simple but true. If you identify a stock that's at the crux of a megatrend like this one, you can make a lot of money. And while many of our viewers may protest that this is easier said than done, your power gauge has pinpointed these types of stocks with uncanny accuracy, often before the supercycle has been fully set in motion. For example, it turned bullish on Zoom Communications ahead of the COVID-19 remote work boom, bullish on Palantir as defense technology investments went through the roof, bullish on Okta as cloud software became all the rage, very bullish on Moderna before the pandemic spurred an mRNA gold rush, and very bullish on Blink charging in front of the electric vehicle EV mania. That EV charging infrastructure play soared by as much as 4,365% after receiving that rating. Your next move, would you say it's also smack dab in the middle of this AI boom?
Yes, Kelly. In fact, it's probably even more entrenched in this supercycle. That's because these new data centers are spurring the fastest growth in power demand in decades. And while Microsoft is trying to meet these needs by firing up 3 Mile Island, Meta is tapping into underground reservoirs miles below the Earth's surface to generate geothermal energy, and the US and China are scrambling to unlock unlimited energy with nuclear fusion. This firm has established a virtual monopoly on a mechanical device that's perfect for data centers. This device takes up relatively little space, it can run practically all the time regardless of weather, and it takes just 11 minutes to reach full capacity. Most importantly, it works. These data centers need power now, and these devices can't be built quickly enough. That's why this company is sitting on a $150 billion backlog and is essentially sold out through 2028. NVIDIA, OpenAI, Oracle, Alphabet, and xAI are all lining up to give this firm their business. So the stage is set for this stock to go vertical in a major way. But if you want my full analysis, you'll have to read my new report, the $150 billion AI power source, inside the tech industry's favorite energy supplier.
Sounds like a great read and a phenomenal stock. I don't know if you can top that, but I am curious, what's the third move you recommend our viewers make today?
Lastly, you'll want to buy a stock that's at the center of a huge inflection point in the AI revolution. You see, we're used to AI living on a screen, and we're no longer blown away when we see it answer questions, write emails, and generate videos. But now, AI is leaving our devices and starting to move through the real world. This is called physical AI, and it's happening all over America. In Austin, San Francisco, Atlanta, and 7 other major cities, you can hail an AI-powered robo-taxi from Waymo, Tesla, or Uber. Chipotle is testing a robot that can cut avocados. And meanwhile, more than 20 White Castle and Jack in the Box outlets are testing one that can operate a deep fryer. And soon, more than 40 million Americans will be able to order goods from Walmart via drone delivery. But while all these firms are planting their flags in the physical AI movement, one firm easily dominates this game-changing technology: Amazon. Amazon has more experience deploying robots to do the work of humans than any other company on the planet. It's been leading the charge of physical AI all the way back in 2012, and this year it plans to replace more than 500,000 jobs with robots. Amazon's even using Anthropic's AI agents to make its autonomous workforce more intelligent than ever.
So does that mean Amazon's your third recommendation? I know the power gauge turned bullish on it back in 2017.
No, it's really too big, Kelly. We're talking about a $2.6 trillion company here, and it's hard for a stock like that to double. I'm more interested in Amazon's new breakthrough warehouse robot and the little-known manufacturer behind it. You see, Amazon recently released a robot with tactile sensors on several of its joints. That means it has a sense of touch, allowing it to handle jobs previously only done by humans. Aaron Parness, Amazon's director of applied science, says it's a technology that 3 years ago seemed impossible, but is now set to help transform our operations. Indeed, this could be the tipping point that turns warehouses into 100% autonomous operations. And one tiny company, roughly 47 times smaller than Amazon, is at the center of it all. You see, an investigative analysis found that a key part of this robot was developed by a little-known Massachusetts firm. This company is very tight-lipped about its relationship with Amazon. In a recent interview, its CEO vaguely referred to a major deal with a major e-commerce player. But it's hard to overlook the connections. Its headquarters are right across the street from Amazon Robotics. Its trucks are frequently found in Amazon's parking lot. But for my money, this is what makes it an open and shut case. Its logo is clearly visible on the arm of Amazon's robots. So as Amazon accelerates its automation efforts, this company could really take off. You'll find all the details in my third new report, Amazon's Silent Partner, the key supplier of the trillion-dollar physical AI revolution.
This sounds like a unique and lucrative way to play the physical AI story that's probably getting overlooked by 99% of investors. Now, to recap, you've assembled a suite of 3 new research reports. There's the AI Cornerstone, why it's time to buy this megatrend winner. There's the $150 billion AI power source inside the tech industry's favorite energy supplier. And then Amazon's Silent Partner, the key supplier of the trillion-dollar physical AI revolution. These reports contain in-depth analysis of stocks that could soar dramatically in the months ahead. As a Wall Street legend who built systems for some of the greatest minds in modern finance, you could easily sell these reports individually for at least $100 a piece. And I'm sure a lot of folks would consider that a steal. However, I'm told that you're giving away these reports for free. That's the deal of a lifetime. So how do our viewers claim their copies?
Well, it is, Kelly, and let me explain. I really want you to have these reports. They're yours to keep forever. All I ask in return is that you sign up for a no-risk trial membership to my financial research service, Power Gauge Report.
And Mark, can you tell us a little bit about the service? What inspired you to create it?
Well, it's personal, Kelly. After more than 30 years on Wall Street, I retired in 2000 to Connecticut. I thought I'd spend my time playing tennis, traveling, cooking, but then the 2008 crash happened. And what it did to someone I love pulled me right out of retirement. You see, at the time, my wife Sandy had her life savings managed by a professional money manager, and she lost around 50% of her 401k.
It's devastating.
In fact, it was. She lost so much money that she fired her advisor and took control of her own finances. I was really proud of her, but it also made something very clear to me. There were millions of people just like Sandy, folks who put their hard-earned savings in the hands of financial advisors who couldn't care less about them. So I came out of retirement with one mission: to help everyday Americans find the right investments to protect and grow their wealth in any market condition, bull, bear, sideways, and everything in between. Power Gauge Report is the outcome of that mission.
And judging by the glowing feedback you've received since then, your mission has been a roaring success. Here's one from Anna C. She says, "The Power Gauge has made me quite a bit of money. Please don't stop providing recommendations. My portfolio has gone up over $90,000 in the last year and a half." And here's another from Mike B. He writes, "Thanks to you, our portfolio has nearly doubled the NASDAQ over the past 6 months." Carl H. tells us, "I've increased my funds by about $200,000. Mary J. shares, "I've made $69,000 in the last 5 months, something I could not have done without Marc's help. This is a serious game changer. Whenever Marc speaks, I stop and listen." And Charles P. says, "I successfully manage my retirement account with this. I have tried many programs over the years and have spent literally thousands of dollars. None have been as easy to use or reliably accurate. In today's market, this information is a necessity. I would not invest without it." These are just a few of the dozens of positive testimonials we've received. That kind of long-term success is no fluke. It's a testament to Marc's tireless work ethic, financial acumen, and trading expertise. To me, the takeaway is clear. If you want to make big money in the stock market, you need Marc in your corner. And the easiest and most economical way to do that is by signing up for a no-risk trial membership to Power Gauge Report today. The retail price of Power Gauge Report is $499, but today you can get started at a deeply discounted rate. Click the Join Now button below this video and you'll receive 12 monthly issues of Power Gauge Report, Marc's model portfolio currently containing multiple open buys, his 6-part Power Gauge Report Masterclass video series, his full archive of special reports including one called Tomorrow's 10X Power Trends, and even a 305-page ebook called Follow the Smart Money, packed with tons of potentially profitable trading strategies. All the bonus reports we've discussed today, and a whole lot more. It's the best deal on or off Wall Street. Click Join Now to find out how you can take advantage of it and to see the special offer we have arranged. Now, Marc, before we wrap up, there are still a few important points I want to make sure that we cover. For one, I want to circle back to your system because I don't think we've done it justice. Because not only did the Power Gauge turn bullish on Vistra before it soared by as much as 1,375%, FTAI Aviation before it went up as much as 2,324%, Advanced Micro Devices ahead of its 2,544% run, and Alpha Metallurgical Resources before it rose as high as 2,175%. Backtests show that it also would have accurately pinpointed at least 8 out of the 10 top stocks of the year since 2016. Bear in mind, of course, all investing carries risk, and you should never invest more than you can afford to lose. This system has an incredible history of success. So what does it say about the stocks that you're recommending today?
Kelly, they're all rated either bullish or very bullish. That could mean big gains lie ahead. Now, keep in mind, every rating is built from 20 different factors. These factors include everything from key fundamental metrics like free cash flow and earnings growth to more obscure criteria like short interest and price strength. But it's okay if you don't know what any of this stuff means. The Power Gauge filters this vast array of data points into one simple, easy-to-read signal. If it's bullish, you should consider buying it. If it's neutral, you may want to tread lightly, and if it's bearish, hold on to your hat and get out.
And you put this entire system directly in your subscribers' hands, right?
That's correct, Kelly. I give all subscribers 24/7 access to the Power Gauge. As soon as you join, you can log into the private members-only website and set it up to work for you. Type in any ticker symbol and it'll give you the stock's current rating, a detailed analysis of its financial health, and just about everything we've recently written about it. I strongly urge you to do this for all the companies in your investment account as soon as possible.
That's very generous of you, Mark, and I'm sure a lot of folks watching this are eager to take you up on that. After all, the Power Gauge is in a league of its own, and the folks who discover it often confess that they can never go back to investing without it. Trader and Inc. 500 entrepreneur John Carter, famous for making $1 million in just 2 days trading Tesla, summed it up best. He writes, "There's a lot of hyped up tools out there, but a single tool that combines 20 fundamental and technical factors to anticipate a stock's profit potential got my attention." The Power Gauge is like an objective awesome meter for stocks. Here's what Power Gauge user Benjamin Y had to say. "I used the Power Gauge to recover from a $216,000 loss and restore my portfolio to $1 million. Wow. Now I refuse to buy a stock if it doesn't have a bullish Power Gauge rating. Compared to the other services out there, it's superior in what it offers investors." And another user, Donald H., said simply, "I have more than tripled my 401k in the last 7 years due to the Power Gauge." Now, we've seen what happens to stocks when they receive a bullish rating. What happens when the Power Gauge turns bearish on an investment?
Well, let me tell you a story, Kelly. One time I was booked on CNBC's Fast Money. They wanted me to weigh in on online travel agency Priceline, which was reporting earnings the next morning. There was just one problem. I didn't know anything about Priceline.com.
That sounds incredibly nerve-wracking.
It would have been, Kelly, but I had a tactical advantage, the Power Gauge. Before I went on air, I sat down and typed the ticker symbol into my Power Gauge. The stock was rated bearish. In other words, its upcoming earnings announcement was likely to be a disaster. So I went on live TV and said, "This is a stock that you want to get out of ahead of Tuesday's earnings report." Sure enough, Priceline missed earnings and fell more than 100 points overnight.
Wow, that's amazingly prescient, but surely this is an outlier, right? It doesn't always work like that.
You'd be surprised at how often it's been spot on. Remember how Anthropic wreaked havoc on the stock market in February, erasing $1 trillion in market value in just 6 days?
Of course. When I heard that news, I knew Anthropic represented a true disruption. At the same time, it gave me this sinking feeling. It made me think, if this news caught Wall Street off guard, what hope is there for Main Street investors?
Well, I'll tell you why there's hope, Kelly. The Power Gauge could have helped you completely sidestep this mess. For example, it turned bearish on IBM in late December, a full 6 weeks before Anthropic erased $40 billion from its market value. It turned bearish on LegalZoom and LexisNexis before Anthropic's new legal platform slashed their shares nearly in half. And it turned bearish on CrowdStrike before Anthropic's cybersecurity breakthrough shaved $20 billion from its market cap. Best of all, 2 months before this so-called SaaS apocalypse, my system turned bearish on the iShares Expanded Tech Software Sector Fund, a fund that closely tracks the software as a service sector. Had you heeded this warning, you would have known to steer clear of this industry and evaded a devastating 30% loss in an ETF.
Wait a second, Mark. Is your system some kind of crystal ball? The predictive powers of your power gauge are almost a little hard to believe.
It's definitely not a crystal ball, but it's an uncommonly powerful tool, and right now it's flashing warning signals on 5 stocks that could get decimated as Anthropic upends entire sectors and industries. The names and tickers are all inside my brand new report, Sell These Stocks Immediately. 5 powder kegs that Anthropic could set off in 2026. And folks, you can get it for free when you sign up for Power Gauge Report today.
Amazing. Folks, this is something I'd urge you to get your hands on right away. After all, the Power Gauge has helped Marc's readers to both avoid painful losses and rapidly recover from them. Like Bill and Amy E., who said, "At the time I subscribed to the Power Gauge, I was with another service, losing my shirt and down 25%. I now use the Power Gauge daily and have been able to gain back my losses from 2022. Thank you for helping us." And here's Anthony C., who told us, "In 2022, my portfolio lost 35%. My financial advisor said not to change anything and that it will eventually come back. At that point, I decided I needed to do something different moving forward. You have provided me the missing piece I needed to become successful in the market. Since taking control of my investments, I now view retirement as a probability and not a possibility. Thank you." And Vicky S., who wrote us to say, "I have a very small portfolio because I put my faith in the wrong person, so protecting what I had was extremely important to me. The Power Gauge has been well worth the expense. I now trust myself to use it to grow my nest egg." You could be the next person sending Marc a success story. It's a simple matter of signing up for a no-risk trial subscription to Power Gauge Report today. Sign up and you'll receive 1 full year of Power Gauge Report, 1 full year of free access to Marc's Power Gauge rating system, the AI cornerstone, why it's time to buy this megatrend winner, the $150 billion AI power source inside the tech industry's favorite energy supplier, Amazon's silent partner, the key supplier of the trillion-dollar physical AI revolution. Sell these stocks immediately. 5 powder kegs that Anthropic could set off in 2026. What's more, your purchase is protected by our ironclad 30-day money-back guarantee. Read a few issues of Marc Chaikin's Power Gauge Report, find out the rating of your favorite stock in the Power Gauge rating system, and if you decide that it's not for you, no problem. Call us up at our friendly US-based member services team within 30 days of your initial purchase, and they'll give you all your money back. No questions asked.
You won't find a guarantee like this anywhere else. I offer it because I have complete confidence in the high-quality products my team and I have built. Power Gauge Report and the Power Gauge rating system are unlike anything else out there, and I'm certain that once you try it, you'll want to stay for the long run.
And don't just take Marc's word. Take it from Konstantinos K., who said, "After 10 plus years in the markets, the Power Gauge is now the only tool I will use for as long as I trade the markets. It's a phenomenal system." Or Brian H., who wrote, "What did I do with my Power Gauge winnings? I retired at 57 years old. I found I was making nearly as much as my previous 6-figure salary from the software industry, and with a lot less stress. I wouldn't invest in a single stock or ETF without first checking the Power Gauge. I've recommended it to at least 5 people." Click the Join Now button on your screen to reveal all the details of this offer on a secure order form, and take advantage of this chance to join over 100,000 subscribers using the Power Gauge to take charge of their financial futures. Marc, we're getting to the end of this broadcast, but before we wrap up, can you tell us about that backdoor investment you found to gain pre-IPO exposure to Anthropic?
Absolutely, Kelly. It's called SK Telecom. Now, this is the largest wireless carrier in South Korea with 23 million subscribers, but that's not why I'm recommending it. I'm urging you to take a closer look at this company because in 2023, it made one of the timeliest private AI investments in modern financial history. It invested $100 million in Anthropic when it was valued at only $5 billion. Today, Anthropic is worth a staggering $380 billion. Now that's a 7,500% return in 3 years. In fact, SK Telecom's stake in Anthropic has grown so large that it makes up a significant portion of its market cap. That's why it's up as much as 77% this year, and it's also why the power gauge is bullish on it. So if you're looking for a pure play on Anthropic, SK Telecom is the way to go. The ticker symbol is SKM. As we film this, it's trading for around $40 a share. I wouldn't recommend buying it for more than $60. That said, the megatrend this startup is setting in motion is now far bigger than Anthropic. And if you want to take full advantage of this once-in-a-lifetime boom, I strongly urge you to check out my new reports. The companies detailed in these write-ups are on the front lines of this 4,200% AI game changer. And to maximize your profit potential, you have to discover them before June 16th.
What's happening on June 16th?
Now, many people believe Anthropic will release its latest AI model by the end of June, Claude Mythos. I think it'll come out a bit earlier, around June 16th. But no matter when it arrives, the impact will be huge. Anthropic says this is the most powerful model they've ever developed. It's potentially so disruptive that right now it's only been made available to a select group of companies. But it's only a matter of time until it hits the mainstream. And when it does, it could make the sell-off in February look like child's play. It will lift up the few companies that are positioned to benefit from its widespread usage and crush the firms that are most vulnerable to its technological advances. In other words, ignore it at your own peril, because if you play this setup wrong, you'll regret it forever.
Timing is everything, right? And as I understand it, the power gauge is uniquely qualified to help you navigate these volatile moments in the stock market.
That's correct, and that's because the foundation of my system is an indicator I developed more than 30 years ago. It's called Chaikin money flow, and it's the subject of numerous academic studies. It's been written about in Yahoo Finance, Investopedia, and Fidelity. And it can be found on every Bloomberg and Reuters terminal in the world. And while it costs nearly $32,000 a year to access my indicator through these terminals, it's included for free in this special offer.
That's wonderful. How does it work? Can you explain it for us?
Well, to put it simply, it measures buying and selling pressure to pinpoint inflection points in price trends. This is what it looks like when investors are plowing into a stock. And this is how it looks when they're racing for the exits. Used in conjunction with the power gauge, it's one of the best methods for timing the stock market that I've ever seen.
That's a bold claim, Mark. Can you prove it?
Well, look at Oklo, a popular nuclear startup that could soon power Meta Platforms' data centers. In 2024, soon after it went public, investors started rushing into the tiny company. And when the power gauge turned bullish, it took off like a rocket, soaring 485% in just over a year. However, at the start of 2026, as Oklo inked the deal with Meta and its CEO dubbed the partnership a huge validator, my system told a very different story. It showed that investors were fleeing Oklo in droves. And after the power gauge turned bearish, the stock fell 57% in less than 3 months.
So by following the power gauge, you could have made more than 5 times your money and avoided a devastating loss.
Correct, and that's just one example of many. Constellation Energy is another big player in the AI revolution. It recently struck a deal with Microsoft to power its data centers, but huge volumes of cash started entering Constellation long before that agreement was made public. That's when the power gauge first turned bullish on Constellation. It went on to see 310% gains in little more than 2 years. However, in the fall of 2025, money began trickling out of Constellation. By December, that trickle had turned into a flood. The power gauge assigned it a bearish rating, and the stock fell 32% in less than 2 months. Better yet, look at Applied Digital. When the data center developer pivoted from crypto mining to AI infrastructure, buying pressure went through the roof. The power gauge turned bullish, and the stock surged by an extraordinary 1,452% in less than 4 years. It was a great story, but towards the end of 2025, my system registered a massive selling frenzy in the stock. Now, nobody knew this at the time, but NVIDIA sold its $177 million stake in Applied Digital during this time frame. That's likely what we're seeing here. When NVIDIA finally disclosed this sale in February, Applied Digital embarked on an 8-day losing streak. But had you access to the power gauge, you'd have known to jump ship 2 months before that news hit and sidestepped a 21% loss. So to circle back to what we're just talking about, Anthropic is poised to roil U.S. stocks. Nevertheless, as long as you have the power gauge at your side, you have the chance to navigate this shock successfully. You could come out of this situation not only unscathed, but far wealthier than ever before.
Thank you for sharing that, Mark. I'm so glad you brought this timely matter to our attention. And to our viewers at home, thank you for attending this special broadcast. I hope the insights we've shared today help you understand why you only have until June 16th to position yourself before Anthropic rocks the market again, and how you have the opportunity to change your financial future when you sign up for Marc Chaikin's Power Gauge report now. Click the Join Now button below this video to access the special offer Mark has prepared for potential new subscribers like yourself. Once again, this offer includes 1 full year of Power Gauge report, 1 full year of free access to Mark's Power Gauge rating system, the AI Cornerstone, why it's time to buy this megatrend winner, the $150 billion AI power source inside the tech industry's favorite energy supplier, Amazon's silent partner, the key supplier of the trillion-dollar physical AI revolution, sell these stocks immediately, 5 powder kegs that Anthropic could set off in 2026, and it's protected by our ironclad 30-day money-back guarantee. For Chaikin Analytics, I'm Kelly Brown.
And I'm Marc Chaikin. And I look forward to welcoming you aboard and showing you how the power gauge can help you profit from the major economic sea change ahead.